Hello guys, welcome to a brand new mixing tutorial. Let's take a look at the tones on my cover of Bleed For You by Alpha Wolf. It's such a good tune. I wonder if you guys liked it, because some people were trashing Alpha Wolf because it had singing on it. If you're one of them, let me know in the comments, because there's arguments for everything. But I love the song. Let's go. Master Bus plugins, I'll explain them at the end. Drum sound. This drum sound is the drum sound from my latest Thornhill cover. So you can go check that out to get the full rundown on the drum tones, but there's a few little changes. If I just unfreeze the track, yeah, this is unprocessed. Wow. All the shells are the same, it's just the cymbals, I believe. I had to change the ride. I changed to the second ride because it has a way better crashing articulation that I use. Yep, right here. So I changed to it, and I added the left splash. So now I have two splashes to play with. And yeah, that was actually all. All thanks to the people at the live stream who made these very good suggestions. Thank you, if any of you are here. Yeah, just go to the Thornhill cover to get the rundown on that, so that I don't have to repeat myself, because I know a lot of you have watched it. Cool. Let's talk bass. Bass is too low for me to play, so I programmed it with Euro bass. The alternate picking isn't even right. Whatever. So yep, DI into a new plugin that if you're watching this tutorial for the next 2 weeks after it's out, this guy is free on where audio plugin deals. This Amplitube SVX is free, and it's one hell of a bass amp. Really has that Ampeg scooped sound, which I tried to emphasize here by scooping around the 600 Hertz area. A very cool, clean sound. To distort it, I put Saturn on the DI before the amp. You know how I like to use Saturn? I choose a mid-range band, somewhere between 1K and 3K, sounds about right. And I put heavy saturation on just that. The DI will go from sounding like this to sounding like that, which is way more like it. Into the amp, night and day difference, right? Then it's just about controlling that high end with EQ that in retrospect I might have overdone. So this amp has a lot of subs beneath 40 Hertz, which I cut here pretty aggressively, but that's inaudible stuff anyway. It just adds this perceived size that you have to sacrifice some loudness in the mix for if you want to keep it. A little boomy on the 200. This bass is tuned so low that 200 can now be considered the boxy region. Yeah, it is boxy there. 600. A little windy whistle. Here at 1.5 is where I want the grind, and there's annoying spikes at 3K and 4K, and then it's very, very open-ended on the high end, which I clamp down maybe too aggressively with a 5K high cut. But yeah, I'm here to show you what I did. That is what I did. Then, when I play real bass on the verse, I run the exact same setup, but the distortion goes a little bit higher on the frequency range and is dialed way back. Other than that, it goes through the same process. Yeah. Two radically different bass tones going through the same chain can make them be two cohesive parts in one song, which I like. Let's talk rhythm guitars. Okay, so my 7th string all the way down to F. Not holding itself too bad even on the chords. Of course, this wouldn't go on a recording, professional recording of mine, but for a cover, I am very happy with how well it took the freaking low F. That's insane. Into STL Will Putney, Lance. This is a Lance original mix, and I'm always drawn to the Will Putney amp for his guitar stuff. Amp 2, Uberschall, stock settings. Cabinet 3 was the weapon of choice today. Has the nicest balance. Needs some livening up though. Yep, you can see it here. A boost at 4.5. And then these are for control. Little node. Little node there at 2K. So very subtle stuff. Most importantly, the palm mute dynamic control at 140. Keeping those chugs in check. And after that, this crazy tool. So this is an exciter by Drumforge, and it's meant to excite drums. So it's like Saturn, but with baby controls, basically. And sometimes it's the simplicity you need. I'm exciting the low, not the treble mostly, and a little bit of high and low mid. You can see it goes up to 100, and I'm using it on 1. Yeah. Treble's on 3, low mid is on 1. If I'm being honest with you, it's just glorified louder with a little bit of excitement. Soothe to control if in case that added anything too bad. This is what it's taking off. Some harsh stuff. And more harsh stuff. I found that this 1.2 cut actually let the guitars fit better in the mix and not poke out. Cool. Lots of little things here now. Like what? Yeah, this guitar part. No. Yeah. Same tone as the rhythms, but with gain on 0, basically. All the gain is coming from the overdrive pedal and the patch. Not really the amp. The reverb to make it sound like it's in a room, that's 85% with 3 seconds. And then getting rid of some harshness at these points, as well as boominess at 200. It just keeps it controlled. And for the intro and for the break, I add an extra lo-fi thing. Make sure it is nice and diffuse with a heavy low cut, high cut, and a heavy low cut, and even a mid-range duck. No thought whatsoever into this thing. It's just a layer. Putney, I switched to cabinet 1 for a different flavor. Lo-fi it. Less gain, nothing to say. So out of all the wet leads, this one is the most diffuse. Same tone as the rhythms to help it fit in with the rhythms, of course, right? A very little gain. So it sounds very clean without the reverb. It just has a little bit of high-end harmonics that can feed into the reverb, which is 9 seconds, 100% wet. And then, of course, huge control of the low-end rumble and the high-end fizz and even the radio-esque mid-range. Really narrowing the sound down. And then it's all variations on this. It all should be the same tone, and same reverb. It's just the EQ that changes. So this one is a little bit more opened up. It just lets a high end come through with the cut at 6K instead of 1.5. What about this one? Yeah, and this one has more gain because it's a chord part and not a single note lead. The reverb is the same, a little bit less wet. And the EQ, samesies, a little bit less high-endy than the single note one. How much more lazy of a clean tone can you get than this? DI, reverb, low-end cut. You don't need to overcomplicate your clean tones with the fucking latest neural, and then I need a compressor on it, and then the delay needs to feed into the reverb that needs to fit into the delay then. Put some verb on it, cut the lows. It's all going to be in the guitar and on whether you tracked it with a humbucker or a single coil split, which is what I did, that the EQ will change a little bit. You can feed it into an amp for sure, but this is what I've been liking. On the breaks, there's a little low-end drone. Just a DI of me hitting the chord. Going into a little amp, and a reverb, and an EQ. Honestly, the amp is minus 43 dB. It's just to give the slightest bit of warmth to the intro. Music box on this breakdown. I'm fond of it. X-Band is stock Pro Tools. I bought it for like $10 though at a sale. Music box thingy sounds dope. Our best friend, little plate here with a 20-second record reverb, 666 wet, of course. I can't do 666. Fuck. Can I? Yes. 666 wet. And of course, oh, not cutting lows. There's no lows. Just cutting the excessive highs. Yep. Oh, so the end of the song has a phone. I did it. Huh? I play the notes. It's a major third starting on B, B, D. So funny. And it's literally that into the stock Reaper synth doing a sine wave. How cute is that? You gotta love it. I built a little swell in the intro. Very simply, it's this guitar chord, little bend that goes away, volume envelope to make it go like this, and then an EQ to get rid of the high end. And it makes a cool swell. No explosion sounds today, just drops. Self-explanatory. There's a short one here. This short one is because the part chokes very fast. So you kind of just feel it a little bit. And yeah, that is the mix. I use my normal 5 mastering plugins on this. Gullfoss, which makes it a bit shinier and it controls the low end a little bit between the kick and the bass and tries to make everything sound better, which is just what this plugin is meant to do if you look it up. Yeah, mostly on the high-end sheen for me. It sells it. Compression, trying to go hard on compression on this mix to make it slam. Make sure that everything is as energetic as the kick and snare, which are the thing that when I mix, I make the most prevalent. And then by running that type of a mix into a compressor, the kick and snare start ducking everything else when it tries to get louder. Same philosophy with the linear multiband. But in a multiband, I can control how it reacts differently in different frequency ranges. In this mix, I wanted the guitars to go down a little bit on the mid-range one. And for the low end to go down too. And mostly just compress everything a little bit evenly. And then tape is how I like to, at the end, mask a little bit of the high end brought in by Gullfoss, make everything glue together in a nice way. Since I'm using tape type C, which is the cleanest of them all, I am giving it a little bit more flavor in the amount of tape. Hopefully you can hear it very subtly, like 0.5% thing, be a little bit more glued together and soft. Then limiter. The limiter is all about chopping the kick and snare. They're going to be the loudest elements of the mix still, and that's what's going to hit the red, and I want to chop that off so that I can bring the rest of the mix to be louder. Don't overcomplicate your limiting if you don't have to. Just make sure the kick and snare are being hit and you're going to be gaining some loudness. Here you can see I'm also digging into the guitars a little bit, which is cool. Yeah, there's a part with just guitars and bass that's being dug into a little bit, which is fine if you want the mix to be slam and loud, which I did. And that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for supporting, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.